Yeah, so it's right around 4:15 a.m. on Friday, February 2nd. Happy Groundhog Day, guys. I haven't been able to sleep much. My back is absolutely killing me. I was physically assaulted pretty aggressively at my door, at the door to my residence, yesterday morning at around 11:25 a.m. by a mentally disturbed, behaviorally dysregulated, violent thug who Greenville has placed in the unit directly below mine for reasons I don't understand. This person almost never leaves the building, never leaves their unit. About an hour ago, when I woke up and sat up in bed silently, he started making violent pounding noises directly beneath my bed. I keep saying that. He's the one who makes violent pounding noises in the middle of the night. I'm not crazy enough to call the police because, I really, it's kind of hard for me to record pounding noises through one floor below. My phone is not that sensitive. But these people are insanely stupid. They make all kinds of crazy noise in the middle of the night. The creep in 88 blasts his video games until 4 a.m. sometimes, and it sounds like thunder, and you can hear it up and down the hallway. Nobody complains about that. And nobody complains when, the maintenance crew is doing construction work in units starting at around 8 a.m. Sometimes they're using power tools and electric saws and hammering and pounding starting at 8 a.m. in units inside the building. And nobody complains about that. But if I'm walking up and down the hallways, shaking things out, sure, it makes noise, but anybody has the right to make a certain level of noise in the middle of a weekday, right? So this was at 11:30 in the morning yesterday, not at 1 a.m., not at 4 a.m., not at 6 a.m., not 11 p.m. I have the right to make a certain level of noise during the day. That is a law. People have the right to mow their lawns, to use power tools in their apartments if they need to, right? So if I wanted to start building shelving in here, I would have the right to use a power saw in the middle of the day. That is something that is permitted by law between the hours of, I think it's 7 a.m. and 10 p.m., right? That is what the city of Boston allows in terms of noise. You're allowed to make up to 100 decibels of noise in a residential area during the day, during normal business hours. Anything after 10 or 11 p.m., and then you have to keep it quiet down to 50 decibels. And just to give you an idea of how loud, 100 decibels is, 100 decibels is what a power saw sounds like, okay? So I was certainly not making 100 decibels of noise earlier today when I was walking around, taking out the recycling, moving trash bins, and things like that. However, the violent thug directly below in 76 decided that somehow, because he can hear me walking around and it somehow bothers him, that I'm too loud. Just because you can hear something doesn't mean that it's too loud. You have to be able to quantify how loud it actually is before you start calling the police and becoming violent. He didn't do that. He actually confronted me in the hallway outside of my door and then violently shoved me into my unit when I tried to basically walk past him to get inside my apartment. He was blocking the door. He bragged to the police that he has a 4.5-minute long video of him confronting me outside of my door, and he was literally blocking the door. And the police are like, you realize that's not okay, right? But that's how stupid this pathetic piece of shit is. So stupidity is its own punishment. I'm sure that their, management team is feeling really, really bad for this poor, violent thug directly below who's so disturbed that he had to shove me physically, and it caused a back injury. My back is absolutely killing me, and I haven't been able to sleep tonight. So the result is that I'm up at 4 in the morning, and right now, whoever keeps accessing the premises of the vacant bathroom of Unit 78 is smoking like a fiend behind the wall of my kitchen sink, and there's all kinds of cigarette fumes right now filling the area around my sink. At the same time, there's always issues with the stinking tap water, so I keep it at a drip, a slow trickle, to try to, basically just clear out whatever contamination keeps intermittently seeping into the water from my kitchen tap. I absolutely have to file a complaint with the Board of Health and have the water tested, and then I can charge the landlord because they're refusing to cooperate with the fact that the water stinks. It's not safe to use. It makes me sick when I try to drink it. It also makes me sick just when I try to use it to rinse out my eyes. My mouth, I can't brush my teeth in that tap. I have to go down the hall because the water from the taps in the common bathroom do not stink like sewage, like filthy feet, like someone's ass crack, and like fish. Those are all like body fluids that apparently somebody is trying to somehow leach into my tap water. Otherwise, it wouldn't stink like that. Treated municipal Boston water should not smell like anything other than maybe chlorine. So when my tap water from my tap that should smell like chlorine stinks like feet, then you can bet that there's some kind of contamination somehow seeping into my pipes or leaching into my pipes. And that does not seem to be an accident because it's been going on for 4 years. You think that the problem would have been fixed by now. No, it started after a ton of construction work was done against my pipes behind my sink from the bathroom of Unit 78, where at the time, a psychopath, a sex offender, a cyber criminal, and Greenville's, reported surveillance expert lived in the bathroom behind my kitchen sink. Now she still lives in the building, but she intermittently seems to access the vacant premises of her former bathroom. And in that bathroom, which is now vacant and empty, she continues to engage in the same exact pattern of stalking, harassment, and physical harm in that bathroom now than she did during the 9 years that she lived there. That's how I know it's her. Nobody else behaves like the psychopath, because I don't think there's that many other psychopaths who live in the building, except maybe the psychotic thug below, who also accused me of being autistic. That's kind of funny. I was in a PhD program for clinical developmental psychology for just about 6 years, and I was literally rubbing elbows with, 24 clinical psychologists every single day for years, and not one of them ever thought I was autistic. Not one of them ever thought I was mentally disturbed in any way. Not one of them ever thought I needed mental health ever, because I don't. I am perfectly able to regulate my emotions and my thoughts. And that's probably thanks to having been an athlete since I was very little and having learned not just control of my body and my muscles and my movements, as all athletes are trained to do, but to control my mind and my emotions. So I've never encountered a problem that I wasn't able to deal with within a few hours and to feel better about within a few hours, right? That's how you know you're fairly normal. Do things upset you? Of course, but you don't, become clinically depressed for days, or, angry for days, right? That's when you know you have an issue. If something lasts more than a few hours, then maybe you need some help. But if you can fix it within a few hours, right? Just doing stuff differently, maybe like going for a walk or reading a book or looking at the picture a little bit differently. Like, yeah, hey, okay, so I lost my job, but there's plenty of other jobs out there and maybe I need a career change. That kind of reframing, cognitive reframing, well, that's how you know you're normal. You don't need to go see a psychiatrist. But if you're a dipshit violent thug like the piece of shit below in 76, who literally stalks people in the hallways because you can hear them walking around and you don't like the hair on their legs and they have pimples on their face that you should have no knowledge of, then you've obviously got some mental health issues. And the people who feel bad for this nut job, the Greenville Group management, their attorneys, whoever, well, they're just as stupid and just as mentally deficient as these career criminals, thugs, and sex offenders who they feel bad for.